final mission complete, it's time to stop and rank all Mission Impossible films from the worst to the best. And just a reminder, these are just my opinions, but this is the definitive list. Coming in at the bottom should be no surprise, it's Mission Impossible 2. Not only should this film not exist, but the filmmakers have done everything they can to make you forget that it does. I mean, no joke, all the Mission Impossible films are available on Delta flights right now, except for this one. Coming in at number 7 is Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning. I was never the biggest fan of the AI entity concept. It's not that it was bad, it's not that they took it too seriously or not seriously enough. There's just something about it that never quite sat right with me. Maybe it's those feelings the film is trying to evoke within me, but at the end of the day, this one is just too slow to get going for me. It has way too many chase scenes, as well as storylines to follow as it sets up the grand finale with the final reckoning. Also, you could really feel the absence of Agents Brandt and Carter in this one. From here on out, you could reshuffle any of these next films and I would find a way to agree with you, but coming in at number 6 is gonna be the original one. And look, I hear ya, this one does a lot of things right. It sets up the franchise extremely well, and if the ones above it didn't find ways to elevate the franchise from here, like 2, then this one would be way higher. It introduces all the tropes and gimmicks, all the cliches to come within this franchise, like with a forced rogue agent of Ethan Hunt, his boss being evil, an impossible break-in or infiltration mission, and of course, the infinite number of face mask twists and reveals. But at the end of the day, I don't find that the special effects hold up nearly as well, and it just doesn't excite me like the other ones above it on this list. Plus, no Benji. Now, these next 3 are almost interchangeable for me, so I'm gonna go with the most controversial ranking possible, just for the shock value alone. So coming in at number 5 is Fallout. On the surface, this is a near-perfect, staple Mission Impossible film, but I don't know what it is. I've always seen it as the overrated fan favorite in my eyes. And I think what it comes down to is that it just doesn't find enough ways to separate from the ones that came before it. For one, it relies on way too many chase scenes, most of which I just didn't find all that interesting or like they contributed to the overall story. And while having to break out Solomon Lane ties together with many story threads like Syndicate's followers, Ethan's past, and his love life, I just don't like the way it makes me feel, okay? And while I love Vanessa Kirby, I think her character is infinitely more interesting in Dead Reckoning than she was in here. And while this one has a stellar Act 3, it feels like it borrows too much from previous Impossible missions. Coming in at number 4 is the latest entry, and potentially the last, The Final Reckoning. This is easily the most intense film of the franchise, and because of how it consistently adds these impossible layers to the mission, makes the ending oh so satisfying. I do appreciate how they gave Luther some time to shine before his inevitable demise, but I wish they had gone a step further with the deaths of these legacy characters. With the way this franchise and its characters and actors have aged, I actually thought it was a disservice not to kill off Ethan Hunt and Benji. The film set up their farewells incredibly well, and I actually think they could have gone out in a really epic fashion that would have felt really satisfying. And if they were absolutely sure that they wanted to do more with this franchise down the road, then I think they could have brought back Agents Brandt and Carter, and maybe even set up Grace to be the new leader of this new crew. But Tom Cruise's ego strikes again, and I think gets in the way of true greatness. And honestly, I don't think this one's going to have a super high rewatch value, so it's very possible that in the future this one and Fallout are going to swap on my list. But to my own surprise, kicking up my top 3 is Mission Impossible 3. This is just such a solid 2000s action spy thriller, and because those are in such short supply and we're never going to get any more like it, this one becomes that much more valuable to me. I love how my personal favorite character, Benji, is set up for an even bigger role within this one. I think it has one of the greatest villains in the franchise, if not the best villain, with Davian. I thought it used the established tropes incredibly well, especially with those mask fake-outs, and I also found that it subverts expectations within its climax as well in interesting ways. Also, introducing Ethan Hunt's love interest is a great way to further flesh out his character and add to these building stakes for the franchise. I thought it was a fantastic creative decision. But coming in at number 2, given my list, it should be no surprise that it is Rogue Nation. Simply put, this one builds off of elements that worked in previous films and finds ways to elevate them and even connect them. It has a new despicable villain who you learn to hate right off the bat, like with Davian. Ethan is doing even more impossible stunts. This is the OG when it comes to him hanging off the outside of an airplane or diving deep into water and holding his breath for a long time. It has fantastic chase scenes that are actually interesting and feel like they matter in the moment. And it has an incredible impossible mission that feels huge and requires perfect teamwork and precision, and yet doesn't overstay its welcome. But coming in at number 1 is the best of the franchise. It is the perfect package for a Mission Impossible film. Number 4, Ghost Protocol. What can I say? Brad Bird did it again, re-imbuing this franchise with fresh ideas and an unforgettable mission. I honestly can't think of anything negative to say about this one. Each scene is better than the last. And honestly, we could have had this cast of characters for the rest of the franchise, and I would have been happy. But that's just how I would personally rank these films, and I would love to see your rankings down in the comments below. I'll meet you guys down there so that we can continue this discussion.